Quarto presents Seriously Happy, 10 life-changing philosophy lessons from Stoicism to Zen to supercharge your mindset. Written and read by Ben Aldridge. For Ollie and Helen. Part 1. Introduction. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lao Tzu. What is your happy? Everyone wants to be happy, right? But not everyone knows what they need to do to achieve this. We're told that we should be happy, but the roadmap to getting there isn't always clear. Of course, happiness is different for everyone. It's important to figure out what happiness means for you. Get this right, and it can have a profoundly positive impact on how you live. In this book, we're going to look at ancient philosophies that can guide you towards a happier, more fulfilling life. These ideas, rooted in the wisdom of the past, offer valuable insights that are still relevant today. Although these philosophies are very old, they have stood the test of time. What worked for folks 2,000 years ago can also work for you today. Human beings are still influenced by powerful emotions like fear, greed, anger, love, and joy. Being chased by a tiger would still scare the pants off you in the modern world, as it would have back in the day. Cultures and societies might have changed and evolved, but our brains are essentially the same, and emotional responses such as stress and anxiety arise as responses to everyday threats and challenges. Seriously happy, according to philosophy. The ancient Greeks thought about happiness differently than we do today. Believe it or not, being happy all the time wasn't the main goal for a lot of these ancient philosophers. They were aiming for something a little different. They were looking for a good life overall, a life that flowed well, irrespective of the ups and downs. The philosophers acknowledged that life isn't always easy, so having the strength of character to endure those difficulties was a must. The word they used for happiness and living a good life was eudaimonia. The ancient Greeks believed that the best way to achieve eudaimonia was through personal growth fostered by cultivating a virtuous character. The idea was that with a strong character and living well, happiness, contentment, and a balanced, chilled mind would follow. Sounds nice, right? This idea is very different from the modern, often materialistic and conditional approach to happiness. Ancient philosophers would have seen the mindset of, I'll be happy when I get a new pair of trainers, when my exams are over, when I have thousands of followers on social media, as superficial, because it bases happiness on external factors. Ancient Greek philosophy sought out a type of happiness that came from personal growth and good character. This inner happiness was based on looking at the world in a certain way and cultivating a frame of mind that says, whatever happens, we'll handle it. The Eastern philosophical take on happiness was similar. In fact, many Eastern philosophies, like Taoism, Zen, and Buddhism, focus on training the mind and finding balance in life. By developing a strong mind, we will be better equipped to deal with the turbulence of life. It's fascinating that although they developed thousands of miles apart, similar concepts surfaced within these different schools of philosophy. So, my overall goal with this book is to introduce you to philosophical ideas that can help you to build character. We'll be looking at how to grow resilience, increase focus, make better decisions, increase confidence, deal with difficult people, and much more. And for the ancients, a good character comes with a delightful side order of serious happiness. Seriously anxious. Several years ago, I found myself in an incredibly dark and unhappy place, slipping into a pit of intense anxiety and panic attacks. I say slipping, but it was more like being hit by a truck. I was so poorly prepared for this. At the time, I didn't even know what anxiety was. It seemed to come out of the blue. Upon reflection, I can see why this happened to me. I'll explore this a little more later, but it was an accumulative effect of poor lifestyle choices and bad habits that fed my mind with negative content and a predisposition for anxiety. Not a great combination for a balanced life. For those unfamiliar with anxiety, let me give you a very basic sense of what it can feel like. Imagine, for a minute, that you're about to jump out of a plane. You've signed up to do a skydive, and now it's crunch time. You are thousands of feet up in the air, and the plane door is open. You've got an instructor strapped to your back, and there's 1 minute left until you jump out. In this situation, you'd probably be feeling something in your body. Adrenaline would be racing through your veins, which would cause physical symptoms. Shaky hands, a dry mouth, wobbly legs, nausea, sweaty palms, a racing heart, a sense of impending doom, shortness of breath, negative thought patterns, and a general feeling of overall panic. All of this nervous energy is normal and expected in a skydiving situation. You're about to do something frightening, and adrenaline is your body's response to that stressful situation. Make sense? Now, imagine you're sitting on your sofa at home, and you suddenly feel like this. Well, this is what happened to me. Out of context, adrenaline and fear are incredibly scary. When you can't pinpoint why you feel utterly petrified, your mind can start to freak out. I thought I was dying. For me, the anxiety started one day, and that was it. Wave after wave of intense panic and fear kept washing over me. I felt like I was drowning. It was utterly exhausting. Any chance of happiness in my life seemed to be blocked by this overwhelming anxiety. The situation became so all-consuming that I found it hard to leave the house. I felt scared of everything and didn't know what might cause my next panic attack. It was a horrible place to be. I desperately began seeking answers to understand what was happening to me. I needed to know how to fix myself and start feeling happy again. And I needed to know fast. I started with a visit to the doctor, who helped to clarify exactly what was going on with me. Diagnosis, anxiety, and panic attacks. This was a solid place to begin. However, I didn't feel like I wanted to follow the doctor's suggestion of talking therapy. I was uncomfortable talking about it, so I stubbornly decided to deal with the problem by myself. In hindsight, seeking professional help for my mental health concerns would have been the smarter move. Nowadays, I would always recommend seeking professional help. Thankfully, all of this didn't backfire, and my salvation came to me through books. Lots of books. I began using them as a way for me to understand and work through my anxiety. During this period of intense reading, I discovered philosophy. This profoundly changed everything. It was my gateway into the world of philosophical ideas and self-improvement. My journey started properly with Stoicism, an ancient Greek and Roman philosophy that is strikingly pragmatic. I fell in love with the ideas, finding them incredibly helpful in alleviating my anxiety. The more I read about the Stoics, the more engaged I became. When I think back on this time in my life, there are two main ways that Stoicism helped me. It allowed me to start understanding how my mind worked. Stoic philosophy is packed with ideas I could test out in the real world. For example, it gave me suggestions on approaching difficult situations, navigating powerful emotions, and boosting my sense of gratitude. Stoicism encouraged me to start pushing myself out of my comfort zone. At first, this was doing small things like leaving the house, but over time, it built up to more adventurous stuff like climbing alpine peaks. You see, the Stoics would deliberately seek out tough situations as a way to build a strong mind. This was their form of mental training. I thought this was fascinating, so I decided to start using it in my life. That's when things shifted, dramatically. By seeking out these challenges, I began rebuilding my shattered self-trust. This helped to profoundly change my relationship with my anxiety. I started to feel in control of my mind again. After a while, I stopped having panic attacks and feeling permanently anxious. This was remarkable.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?